Oh boy! Today I'm bringing a topic that I've been willing to talk about for a while, but I never thought how to structure a video. But yesterday I was talking to a student about this, and I thought I really have to make a video about this, and hopefully one day this video will reach somebody that can make a change, you know? And this is about the Living Cert Spanish papers. I was talking to a student about the length of the opinion piece. She was very stressed because she said that she wasn't sure about the length. No, she actually said that her teacher had said the length had to be such, okay? And I said, I think that's too long. I don't think it has to be that long. She said, what do you think it is? I said, well, what the book says, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the paper. And she said, yeah, because the longer it is, the more mistakes you make. I said, the longer it is, the more unnecessary things you're saying. I mean, you have to go straight to the point, and I don't think it has to be that long. But of course, I said, ask your teacher, because maybe I am wrong. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that later. But I was just looking. I've been teaching Spanish for 7 years now. 7 years now. And I've been seeing texts and exercises when I thought, wow, that is really hard. I mean, me being Spanish, I understand, but that's like really high level, you know? And I thought, do you really need such a high level for a Spanish Living Cert? I mean, I would understand if it's maths or English, or even if Spanish were a compulsory subject, you know what I mean? But I thought, do you really need all this? So I was looking at some papers and I thought, I'm gonna make a video about this. So we're going to talk about 2013, okay? I'm not going to go into the parts and all that, because I think the parts the parts are okay. I think, well, probably there are too many reading comprehensions. I mean, instead of having 4 or 5, maybe you can have 3. With 3, I'll tell you, you can show your level, okay? Enough. But yeah, I was looking at the section A, okay? So in section A, you have an extract of a novel. Now, this one is optional, okay? But even though it's optional, if you find it difficult, you have no choice but to do the other one, right? And when I was looking at this is extract from a novel called La Aventura de Said, which is quite popular in Spain. And I was reading through it and I thought, wow, that's the vocabulary is really hard. I mean, you have expressions such as mandarlo al cuerno. Nobody says that anymore. Like, how if I don't say that, or we don't say that, of course you can hear people saying it, but people don't say these things anymore. What would you expect somebody from a different country learning Spanish as a foreign language to know these things? I mean, it's really hard. But yeah, that's one of them. And then I saw different verb tenses like pluscuamperfectos, and they don't learn pluscuamperfectos. Some schools do teach it, but not all of them. Why would you include this había tomado? I mean, do you really need pluscuamperfectos to express something? I mean, I understand this is an extract and you cannot change anything from an extract, but why would you include this overall? I mean, you don't need it, right? So yeah, that's one of the things that I thought, no, I don't like it. I don't think it would be useful to have this. But then I was looking at section B, and section B, it's so much easier, because in this case, for example, we have vuelta al cole con mochila digital. Okay, it's a topic, modern topic, so back to school with a digital backpack, so it's a digital equipment, and yeah, it's easy to understand. I mean, this is what you need for a Living Cert level, right? And then, well, the questions were fine, you know, they answer the questions in English, and then something to explain in English. Now, some of them, it's true that can be a little bit more difficult, but you can kind of get by, right? Now, one thing that I don't understand is the exercise about synonyms, okay? So when you have in section B, you have the reading comprehension. And then you have this exercise, which is about synonyms. Some schools don't tend to explain how to do it. I mean, yeah, look for a synonym, but it's up to you. I'm not telling you how to do it. Now, one thing about these types of exercises is that you have to look at the word. But the word can be a verb, a noun, an adjective. Does anybody know what those mean? No, you don't know what those mean because you don't learn those in linguistics. I mean, I know what they are because I learned them while I was learning English as a foreign language when I was younger. But somebody who doesn't know linguistics, they don't know what a verb. Well, maybe verbs, yes, because you're learning verbs all the time. But an adverb, an adjective, a noun, like that is really difficult. And that's how some books explain it. Oh no, you have to look for an adjective. Tell me what an adjective is first. You know, some people don't know, but it's because English as a first language here, they don't teach it. Now, some people might be thinking, how do you know that? Because I have Spanish friends whose children go to schools here and they say, wow, they told me, how do they not learn parts of the sentence, words in the sentence? I said, I really don't know, because then for these types of exercises, they're asking you to find these words. So yeah, I think it's an useful exercise, but you need to understand these types of words, this type of vocabulary. What's a word? What's a noun? What's an article? What's a verb? You know? So that's why I'm between two minds about that. And then, well, you have some reading comprehensions, which are fine. I think they're fine. Then you also have another reading comprehension. In this case, we have adicción al trabajo, which is like work addiction to your job, to work. And you have more or less the same. So you have an exercise which is 15 marks and it's all about synonyms. But we have the same problem. If we don't know, for example, we have de verdad, okay? What is that? Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it an adjective? How am I supposed to find a synonym if I don't really know what type of word this is? You know what I mean? Then, yeah, you have, for example, escapar. Escapar, okay, we know it's a verb because we learned that verb, you know? So, yeah, some of them can be easy to see, but from what I've seen all these years is that students struggle with this and they don't explain this in school. So we need to emphasize how to look for synonyms and how to distinguish certain types of words. How do we know this is a verb? Oh yeah, escapar, it's an AOR verb, okay. Potencian, AN at the end. Oh, could be a verb in present. Oh yeah, present, third person plural, AN. Oh yeah, but they don't show that to students, you know what I mean? So that really annoys me a lot because I do it, I teach it to my students. I say, look, if you need to look for these words, look for this, you know? But yeah, that's one of them. And then, well, then you have all the dialogue construction, which I find is good because normally the topics are normal everyday topics, and I like it. I really like it. Normally, yeah. So I wouldn't have problems with that. Then you also have the you have the dialogue construction or the letter writing, which is also something that I don't really understand. When some teachers say, oh no, you have to do the dialogue construction, and they teach how to write dialogues. But hold on, the letter in section C, okay, the dialogue construction, letter B, which is a letter, that counts the same as the dialogue construction, and I think it's easier. Why would you advise to your students to do letter A, so the dialogue, instead of the letter? I mean, you should be able to teach both, right? And from my point of view, I think it's easier if we well, first of all, they should have an option, right? Do you want to do the letter? Do the letter. Do you want to do the dialogue? Do the dialogue. But I've seen situations where teachers have said to students, no, do the dialogue, which in my opinion can be more difficult. But yeah, you can do both. You can do either, and either are fine. So you have everyday topics that can be okay to do if you study, you know. And then the diary entry or the note, the same, you can pick one. I would always say read both and stick to the one that you prefer the most. But now, to finish with this, I want to talk about the opinion piece. I've seen opinion pieces where if I were the students, I wouldn't know what to talk about. I mean, and I've done a C2 in English, okay? Which means that, okay, I think I can write and I can express myself, okay? But there are things that an 18-year-old doesn't know how to talk about, okay? Now, these ones are quite easy. You have el ocio es tan importante como el trabajo, no? Like leisure is as important as work. And then no hay vida sin trabajo. No life without work, okay? They're not too bad. I think you can talk about it. But how somebody 17 or 18-year-old who has never worked could say something about these topics, okay? They could, and maybe because the opinion is between 80 and 150 words. I mean, 80 words, that's just a paragraph. That's 5 lines. You know what I mean? So it's not that bad, but how do teachers expect to write a page and a half of something you have no idea about? Of course, you have to practice, and that's what 6 years is for. So you have to learn new topics and new expressions, blah, blah, blah. But there are things, and I've seen it, there are expressions and there are words that you don't really need those to create an opinion piece, right? That's why I would suggest, from my point of view, to do between 80 and 150 words, what it says here, okay? But introduction, just introduce the topic. At the end of the introduction, maybe you can include a question. Like if I'm talking about there's no life without work, I say blah, blah, blah. And then I finish the introduction with a question. But is this always true? The reader, when they read that, they think, oh, this is getting interesting. Because at the end of the day, your teacher is not the one who is going to correct your living cert paper. It's somebody who doesn't know anything about you. So the reader needs to get into the reading, you know? So introduction, introduce the topic, maybe finish with a question there. And then paragraph 2, just explain one idea. Paragraph 2, explain another idea. And the conclusion, be concise with the conclusion. You need to make the reader feel, wow, that was powerful, you know? There's no need to, what's the expression in English? Like to walk around the bush or to bend around the bush? You know what I mean. You know what I mean. 150 words. I mean, you don't need more. You don't need proverbs in Spanish. You don't need anything. You just, I mean, yeah, of course it's good to include maybe some ideas or opinions, but if you want to include a proverb, make sure that proverb sticks to the topic, you know, and it makes sense with the whole text. But it's maximum 150 words. Just be concise, check your grammar, check your vocabulary, and the conclusion has to be concise as well. I agree with this. I think this is this. Maybe whatever it is, you know. But yeah, that's my opinion. I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to change anything because I can't. But I think that it should be considered a change in just to make it easier, because things that I've seen here, we don't use them at the end of the day, okay? It's only an optional subject. Yeah, it's good that we know how to talk about, but we don't need this much, okay? If you're a teacher, don't confuse your students with meaningless proverbs, and don't tell them to write more than they need, because the stress is enough, and you know, you've been there, you know the stress. Why would you include all those things, you know? And yeah, and then if anybody who can change this is watching, I'm telling you from my point of view, where you don't need this much to express something in Spanish, okay? I always thought, and I'm going to finish with this, I always said that those who can teach and those who can't make the rules on how to teach. And I have that feeling with this. You need to probably talk to more teachers, and you need to get out there and see that the language evolves. And as the language evolves, the system should evolve. And yeah, and things need to be changed. Maybe nobody watches this, but I needed to let it out, because I've done my exams in English when I was 18, and it is nothing like this. And English in Spain is a compulsory subject. So I don't think it needs to be this hard in order to speak English. Oh, in order to speak Spanish. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoy. At the end of the day, if this doesn't change, I'll always advise you to keep studying, keep working, because Spanish is a beautiful language. And if you have the chance, travel to Spain, travel to Spain and practice it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.